India's debt, as on 2014, the day before Modi took office, was somewhere around 50 lakh crores. Today, 10 years, 12 years after his government, it is touching 200 lakh crores.
Welcome back to Journal of a Leader.
The Indian judicial system is a system built on people at the end of the day.
Today's guest is a lawyer, a political spokesperson, and a national TV panelist.
We don't need to learn anything from the RSS. In fact, the only thing we need to learn from the RSS is how not to be the RSS.
After five years of your degree, you come out and you join the profession, and the industry standard, a very high industry standard, is that you receive 15,000 rupees. Nowhere enough to live in a city like Bangalore. Karnataka is the only state where the government has promised the welfare schemes and continued and acted on it.
He has worked inside high-profile cases and certain matters like the MUDA case. You said 30 years ago. Why did it come up today?
I think I would be absolutely brainwashed if I was not able to say good things about the BJP or criticize the Congress.
Mr. Samrudh Hegde, welcome to the show. Today, it's all about politics, power, legality, and truth. No filters, just truth.
Thank you for having me on the show, Anshul. It's a pleasure to be here.
So many stars to your badge, right? So, talk me through your journey of how you went to becoming an advocate in High Court and working closely with so many high-profile advocates and cases.
So, firstly, I honestly feel like I'm not doing enough. I thank you for the great compliment that I have many medals or badges, but honestly, I don't feel like I'm doing enough, and I feel like there's a long way to go. But I think I realized that I wanted to be a lawyer very early on in my schooling days when I was into a lot of debates and a lot of uh, competitions like the Model United Nations. And that's where I think I brought up the habit of speaking and my speaking skills. And every dinner table conversation, every day we were watching the news at home. And I was really interested in law and politics, and that really fascinated me. So my idea and quest for justice, in a sense, it made me believe that even David can fight Goliath when we have a justice within our justice system. So that's what probably drove me into becoming a lawyer and taking up law as a
So,
profession.
you always wanted to do law from your school days? Was that all what you always wanted to do?
Yes, it's something that I always saw myself doing, even though I took ISC science in 11th and 12th, and that was a nightmare because it's really difficult. But yeah, I think it shaped me in some way that I always knew I wanted to do law. And now I don't know what I want to do going forward. So that's how life is, I guess.
And leadership came very natural to you, being a leader, because you were also a school captain back in the day. So, I don't think leadership or any of those speaking skills or public speaking skills that you have today was acquired.
I think it's definitely an acquired skill to some extent because from a very young age, my mother, who raised me, always made me recite shlokas and get into all kinds of classical music, and she never let me fear a stage. So I never feared cameras, and I never feared stages. It almost felt natural to me because I was trained in that kind of way. I don't think my mother wanted me to get into politics or law in specific, but she just wanted to hone me with certain life skills of being confident and being able to speak well. So from a very early on in third, fourth standard, fifth standard, I would do well in recitation competitions, in debate competitions, in poetry competitions, uh, and I would act in plays. So I think that gave me a lot of confidence, and it didn't let me bring in the kind of fear that most people get. The stage fear is a real thing. So it's not like I'm not scared of going to stage. Sometimes even I'm like jittery, but the confidence takes over at some point.
You're a lawyer by profession, right? And politics, you're also a political spokesperson, right? So would you consider yourself as a politician yet?
That's a good question. I predominantly, professionally, consider myself a lawyer, and I also do politics on the side. Uh, Politics is actually something that you can't do on the side, right? You have to be fully into it because it is a service that you take up to the people. But as a political spokesperson, and I go on TV debates and represent the Indian National Congress and the Karnataka Congress on news channels. But apart from that, I also take up other political activities like election campaigning and maybe not a politician in the true sense of the word, like how you see on your Instagram reels. But yeah, I'm trying to make my mark
What
in both
position
fields.
do you hold today under the Karnataka Youth Congress?
So right now, I am the Karnataka Youth Congress co-chairman for the Legal Cell,
Okay.
and I am the spokesperson for the Karnataka Congress.
How did you get to this position? Did you always want to get into politics after you started pursuing law, or did it just happened?
So I do have a family history in politics. I think we'll get to that at some point, and we'll speak about that. But yeah, I was always interested in
Interested.
politics. And as a lawyer in 2019, I was in Symbiosis Law School and I was practicing. And I saw this page on Twitter, the Indian Youth Congress page, and it said that they're calling out people who are raising their voice against power and against the kind of injustice being done to the farmers and other laborers and such issues of national importance like unemployment and exams. So I saw this poster and it asked you to fill a form, and I just filled in the form, and they said upload a few videos of yours on that form. So I spoke about some current issues. The program was called Young India Ke Bol. It was a program of the Indian Youth Congress, and I just randomly on a like a Tuesday or Thursday evening, I just sent those videos across. Within probably 2 days or 3 days, I received a call from the Congress, the Indian Youth Congress, from someone in Delhi, and they were like, you spoke really well, and we want to train you and get you into the party fold because you have good command over language and you're able to express yourself. So I was like, thank you. I'm very grateful, firstly. And then I entered into the training program of theirs. And then they called me to Delhi.
So there's
And
a training program to become a spokesperson?
definitely, definitely.
Oh, please tell
So,
the viewers about how this works for anybody who wants to get into speaking or who's a great orator and who'd like to get into politics by becoming a spokesperson into their respective supportive party or whatever. So can you please tell the viewers on?
so I think each political spokesperson has a different journey. I can tell you about mine that I got in through this Young India Cable kind of talent hunt that existed, which was created by the Youth Congress to find young spokespersons. So this is a specific program designed to find spokespersons. So I got in through that, and in the training program, we finished it, and then I was appointed as the state spokesperson for Youth Congress Karnataka. And then within a few months, I was made a national spokesperson, and they gave me in charge of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and Mumbai to find more spokespersons there. So I traveled the districts in Tamil Nadu, in Andhra Pradesh. I went to Mumbai, and we found younger speakers there. So I think the training program mainly involves that if you're a good orator, they test your ideology, which is the most important, right?
Right.
So, as a political spokesperson, your ideology must be solid, your facts must be solid, your history must be solid because you need to know the basics of how India got independence, the manner in which India has conducted itself, the beauty of our country, the diversity, the constitution. So that's why many a spokesperson are usually lawyers, right? A lot of spokespersons are lawyers because I think lawyers have this unique ability to not only speak well, but analyze the necessary facts.
Most of them, not all of them.
Not all of them.
Yeah.
Definitely not all of them.
Right. Now, if a lawyer isn't a great spokesperson, can he still argue well in court just by knowing about the case? If if he's not fluent with his language,
I think language forms a very important
Right.
part of being a lawyer. It could be speaking in English or speaking in Kannada.
Kannada,
You have to be fluent.
a good hold of
You
your
have
language.
to have a good command over language,
Mm.
because at the end of the day, the choice of words also are extremely important.
Right.
The words that you end up using in a courtroom, the words that you end up using in a debate, even though they're entirely different, I think it influences and it helps a lot.
As a lawyer by profession, the courtroom is your office, right? And as a spokesperson, you're very brutal on national television. How do the two go with you? Like, what's the difference? Like, how does it happen?
Correct. There are quite a few
Do
similarities.
they get
and differences.
mixed or
There are quite a few similarities and there are differences, but I think the primary difference is that on TV you're arguing for the gallery, and in courtrooms you're arguing for the critic. So the tone, the tenor, the language is a lot more formal in the courtrooms. On national TV, on Kannada news channels, it's a no holds barred.
Right.
There's insults flying
I have
around.
seen you be so brutal to the opposition on national television. That's insane. Yeah.
No, but the thing is, you also have to maintain a decorum.
Right.
I don't prefer to raise my voice or shout on TV debates. I don't enjoy that, because as a child, as a young teenager who's watching debates, it would almost feel like a cacophony. Like, why are they shouting at each other? You can't hear what A is saying, what B is saying. So I usually don't interrupt when somebody else is speaking, and I don't like to be interrupted, and I don't like to shout on TV debates. So yeah, the tone tenor is very different from these two. It's almost like one's a street fight and one's like a boxing match. So I'm not saying in the courtrooms also there are quite a few blows that you give to the other side advocate, or but they're a lot more subtle, and there's a lot of respect to the other people from the same fraternity. And at the end of the day, in a courtroom, there is a judgment or there is an order. So there is a finality to it. And I can't argue anything under the sun. I have to argue to the point.
The point and by the
But the
book.
same is not in a debate, right? In a debate, what happens is there's at the end of the day, the
You have to make your point.
I make my point, but the anchor comes with an agenda. The BJP spokesperson or the opposition spokesperson comes with an agenda. I come with an agenda. We all raise our voices, and the viewer who already has an agenda, who already knows what's happening, who has already formed opinions, listens. So there are times when you just have to try to put forth your information to try to make the viewer at least try to get on your side.
There are so many times where I've seen the anchor say, Samrudh Hegde, hold on, let X speak, let Y speak, wait. And then the other guy will be so exhausted when Matadli will be like that.
That happens, I think, a lot more at Kannada debates. Uh, because there's no end. You don't come to an end or a conclusion in these debates, right? And the thing about national news channels is they have so much going on in India that they can afford only 20, 25 to 30 minutes for a debate. So each spokesperson gets 3 to 4 minutes to make his point on the issue. So most of the times they'll be trying to hit the nail on the head and try to make uh, accurate points. But in a local news channel, they'll have the same debate for an hour. So, and they expect you to shout. There are times when I've been told by news channels that, sir, ನೀವು ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ನೀವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಿರ್ಚ್ಬೇಕು, ಆವಾಗಲೇ ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ. So I said,
So when they invite you as a spokesperson, is there any remuneration that you receive?
no, there's absolutely no remuneration
Okay.
that political spokesperson, at least in the Indian National Congress, receive.
Receive nothing.
It is purely based on duty and service to the party.
Nation and the party.
So I don't know about other political analysts and other political parties. I can't speak
Even on
for
the
them.
news channels, you not get any.
No, there's no monetary remuneration by
Okay.
any means.
Okay.
But definitely you get the recognition.
Recognition.
You
Visibility.
get visibility across India. You get visibility across. I have sometimes when I'm on news channel, when I'm on the debate, I have people sending me pictures of their TVs in different parts of India. So it's sometimes very flattering. And
When I saw you
for
for the
the
first time on national television, I was like, damn.
so as a teenager, as I used to watch a lot of debates, and at the time, between 2014, 15, you have these Times Now and NDTV, and I think Republic wasn't there that time.
Okay.
So Arnab was in Times Now. So I would sit and we would watch, and I would literally kind of try to analyze and internalize and say, if I was there, I would have said this, or if I was there, I would have said that. So today, to be on those channels truly feels like some sort of blessing.
Let's focus more on law now.
Okay.
You're a lawyer by profession, right? Now, speaking about the Indian legal system, right? Each case, it's a known fact, takes so long to even get a judgment, right? To even get another hearing. Why is that an issue? Like, people like to get things done really quickly, really fast. Why is there the delay?
So one thing is our sheer population. And the second very important aspect is our system, our judicial system is a mechanism designed to try to ensure that the truth comes out the best way possible. Right? So it is extremely difficult to come out with the truth unless opportunity is given to everybody, unless the evidence is brought forth, all evidence is brought forth before the court, and unless that evidence is properly analyzed. So the fact finding, the truth finding is a very laborious process. It is a very lengthy process. And the Indian judicial system is a system built on people at the end of the day.
Right. For the
Right.
people, by the people.
It is built for the people, by the people. Yes, definitely democracy. But the Indian legal system, when there are people involved, naturally there will be delays, right? There will be red tapeism, there will be delays. And the other thing is, the other thing that the judicial system upholds is that judges also can make mistakes. So I go before a sessions judge. A sessions judge's order is appealable before the High Court. The High Court's order is appealable in the Supreme Court, or sometimes in a division bench in the High Court, and then in the Supreme Court. So these appeals take time, right? Even though there's a limitation prescribed that you must file the appeal within so and so time, it takes time. It is a process. It's a time-consuming process. Justice is a time-consuming process, but this in itself has many issues. Like, you can't have a justice system that takes 12, 13, 14, 15 years to settle a land dispute.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? There must be timelines set. But at the end of the day, it has to come out with the truth.
How's the Indian legal system for a common man who can barely afford anything? Because you're also a lawyer by profession. You will also have your legal fees, right? So if someone gets into some kind of controversy or some kind of judicial cases, how does he go about? Who does he approach? What does he do for a
I'll-
common man?
I'll be brutally honest.
Yeah, please.
The common man has it very difficult in the legal system today. When it comes to anyone with access, with connections, with power, with money, the legal system becomes much more accessible. It opens up. You have access to the best lawyers. You have
Is this the
access
same
to
only?
the
Is this
best.
only in India or all over the world?
I think it's all over the world.
All over
I
the
think
world.
it's all over the world.
Mm.
Because for a common man who is suddenly pushed into legal cases, firstly, he doesn't have the time, right? He doesn't have the resources. He doesn't have the knowledge. He is coming somewhere very new, into a new atmosphere where he doesn't know the procedure. He doesn't know. So there are many times where a lot of cases come in.
Exactly. As much as you want to help him, it's your bread and butter. If he isn't paying you, why would you take forward his case?
It's not just a bread and butter. I think I would take up any pro bono case that comes my way,
Okay.
but it's about the access to me or access to the lawyer, right? How many people know that this lawyer is here and I can go to him.
Exactly.
And this lawyer is going to take
Yeah.
up my case for free.
So there has to be a structure.
So there is a structure. There is a legal services authority that exists in every district, but they are really overburdened. And as a lawyer, I can go and enroll myself in that legal services authority, but they're very overburdened, and it becomes very difficult because a case has to be run over many dates, right? It takes time, it takes effort, it takes money, it takes patience. So yeah, while the common man has it very difficult in a court of law, it is not just the fees. I think it's the accessibility, it's the knowledge. It's the knowledge. For example, there are times when they get defrauded by their own advocates. There are examples of
Can
this.
you state one such example?
There are times when an advocate will come. I mean, farmer probably will come and engage some advocate. The advocate might be uh, represent who knows the person from the other side, and there are obviously are such cases, but they're rare. Most often than not, our profession is a noble profession, and we look out for the client.
Absolutely.
But it's access. Then at the end of the day, the access given to a person who has connections, net worth is obviously much higher.
Before I get into the highlight of today's show, can you tell about the legal system hierarchy on how B, BLLB pass out? How does he go about without having any kind of backup or support or godfather? How should he set himself out and make a name in today's world?
So young lawyers have it extremely difficult. I think it looks extremely glamorous from the outside that lawyers are wearing their coats
Right,
and
exactly.
bands and
When I pass
their
by a court,
robes,
yeah,
and everyone is of the assumption that they're making loads of money
with the
and
briefcase,
with briefcases and files, and that looks very fancy. But young lawyers have it, especially litigating lawyers, have it extremely difficult in India right as of today. Because to even start off in a court, you require experience, you require case briefs, and people will only come and give you a case once you have that experience. You need to, if you need to master the art of courtcraft, you need guidance.
I've heard so many of my friends, they finish BLLB, BBA, LLB, and then they work under someone, a big name, but they get paid peanuts.
Yeah. So that's another thing.
Yeah, please talk about that.
So young lawyers get paid as per the Bangalore industry standards somewhere around 15,000 rupees a month.
15.
15,000 rupees
After
a month.
5 years of
After 5 years of your degree, you come out and you join the profession, and the industry standard, a very high industry standard, is that you receive 15,000 rupees a month, which is nowhere enough to live in a city like Bangalore. So for someone coming from a different district into Bengaluru, from probably Hassan, from Chikmagalur, from anywhere, if they're coming into Bengaluru, where do they stay? Where do they work if they have no connections? It becomes extremely difficult. So litigation, as a sense that you need to have some kind of privilege. Either your parents should support you in those years, or you need to take up some side kind of hustle, which is extremely difficult. But your law learning process you need to be in court every day for 10 years to be able to be like, yeah, I'm going to be a great lawyer and probably take it forward from here. But so many people don't have access to that opportunity, right? If I'm not able to feed myself on a daily basis, why will I continue in this profession, which is so difficult to make money? There are hordes of lawyers that exist today.
is it an
Uh,
oversaturated profession?
I would say that there are a lot of disputes that come in. So you do have opportunity, and there is a lot of funds that do exist within the profession. There's a lot of money flow, but there is a lot of difficulty in finding that opportunity and access. I'm going to repeat the word access again and again because
Access to the opportunity.
access to the opportunity. There are so many people who have to quit the profession because they don't have enough opportunity. They don't have enough cases coming in. They're not able to put food on their table. They're not able to. So there are some schemes which the government and other people give for
Budding
young
lawyers.
budding lawyers, that there is like a allowance given to them. But it's not enough, right? It's extremely difficult for young lawyers today in India, and something should be done about that. Because what we assume is that we only look at the top lawyers in India, right? And in my opinion, the legal, especially litigating and advocacy, litigation in itself is a big boys club. The top probably 3 to 4% of the senior advocates make most of the money, and they charge that kind of money. So yeah, it does exist.
What are the branches under law?
So there are like a host of branches. It's not limited to anything. I could literally name any field and there'd be laws governing that. But predominantly there would be a criminal, civil,
Criminal, civil.
criminal, civil, matrimonial.
Okay.
There would be tribunals for company law.
Okay.
There would be writ petitions for your fundamental rights.
Okay.
There's constitutional law before the High Court and the Supreme
So a
Court.
lawyer, an undergraduate can practice all of it?
Correct. So you need to have a degree, a law degree. It could be a 3-year degree or a 5-year degree. So your 3-year degree you can only pursue if you already have a previous degree before that. So then you can get into your 3-year LLB. Once you graduate, if you want, then you become a lawyer. So once you graduate law school, you become a lawyer. But if you want to become an advocate and practice, you need to be enrolled into the bar council. So you need to, wherever you're practicing, you need to enroll into the state bar council. So like I'm enrolled into the Karnataka Bar Council. And then you'll have to write the All India Bar exam.
Okay.
Which is an open book exam.
This is to become an advocate.
It's to become an advocate and practice in courts and to sign wakala.
Right.
So if you need to represent a client, you need to be
Advocate.
advocate.
Now, what's the journey from an advocate to a judge?
So there are two types of judges. One judge would be where you write an exam as soon as you graduate and you become an advocate. You write an exam, and then you can after training, after due training, you get into if you pass the exam, this training, interview, and the same process, you can become a judge in the lower judiciary. I wouldn't say lower judiciary; it's a district judiciary. In the district courts, you can become civil judges, magistrates. You will become sessions judges. In the High Court, it is different. So you have a collegium system, wherein the collegium looks at advocates who are already practicing in high courts or practicing in Supreme Courts, and then they elevate them as judges. So they elevate them directly from being an advocate to becoming a judge. And I think there's a prescribed time limit that you have to have a minimum practice of 10 years or 15 years. I don't exactly know the time limit. But if you practice for that minimum 15 years, then you can be elevated as a judge. So the collegium, which is appointed by the Supreme Court, decides who becomes a judge of the High Court. And there are also times when the district judiciary, people in the district judiciary, get elevated to judges in the High Court. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, your retirement for your High Court is 62 years, and retirement for the Supreme Court is 65. So many a time, the High Court judges get elevated as High Court Chief Justices, High Court judges get elevated as judges of the Supreme Court. So the strength of the Supreme Court is 32 judges. And each High Court has a different strength. I think Karnataka, we are on 40, 45.
Let's talk about affordability, right? A common man gets arrested today. No power, no money, no contacts, no network, no influence, nothing, right? So what's next for him? How does he go about?
So yeah, it is very difficult. So the issue is you can only get arrested if there's a cognizable case alleged against you. If there is a non-cognizable case, then the police will require a warrant to arrest you. So let's say that there is a cognizable case against a common man and that person is arrested. So what happens is they have to give him a memorandum of arrest. They have to give him a grounds of arrest on why they're arresting him, for what reasons, why they can't let him go, and all those things. And immediately what is done is within 24 hours, he has to be produced before a magistrate. And once he's produced to a magistrate, then the magistrate decides whether he needs to be remanded.
It's a long process.
Definitely, I think when you are curtailing someone's liberty, it has to have a certain safeguards. So, yes, once you're arrested, then you're sent into police custody or into judicial custody for 14 days, and then that keeps going on and on and on. So, the issue is that if you don't have access to money, to lawyers, to anyone, to contacts anyone, you're unaware of all these things, right? You're literally going to be in prison for longer than you should be. You're literally going to be in custody for longer than you should be. Because we are a system which says that you're innocent before proven guilty. And bail is a right given to every accused person. Now I'll tell you how it's different for someone who has money. So someone who has money, contacts, as soon as an FIR is registered, knows that an FIR is registered against them.
He knows.
They usually get to know. They find out. The police gives them a call. The advocates give them a call. Somehow they get to know that an FIR is registered against them. So immediately what they do is they contact the best lawyers and they go and apply for anticipatory bail. So anticipatory bail is a provision where in anticipation of arrest, you have to file for bail.
Got it.
So there is a provision for that. So you go before the court and you say that I'm going to file for anticipatory bail. And then the court decides whether you get anticipatory bail or not. So you have access to that first safety net of an anticipatory bail. So if an anticipatory bail is allowed, then the police can't arrest you.
Right. Any under the table activities you wouldn't mind talking about?
I told you before, when any system is run by humans,
It always has a
it
loophole.
is prone to greed, corruption, and the general fallacies of human greed, right? Of human nature. So definitely there are situations where, but that's why we have the courts, right? So a person can't be held in custody for more than 90 days without a charge sheet being filed. So once an FIR is filed and, for example, a common man is taken into custody as an under trial, within 90 days, a charge sheet has to be filed against that person. Otherwise, he gets mandatory bail. He is allowed to leave
90 days.
90 days,
Right.
unless an extension is sought by the police. So only then a charge sheet is filed. So but the issue is our prisons today is filled with low income, backward castes, SC, ST, minority under trials who do not have the opportunity to hire good advocates.
Correct.
Right? There are situations where the 90-day period is long gone, but somebody has to file for bail, right?
So they don't have the knowledge to do it, or
They don't have the knowledge. I don't expect them to have the knowledge because they don't have the legal
exactly.
knowledge.
That's why lawyers exist.
They don't have the lawyers to do it for them. Correct?
Someone to tell
Their
them.
cases are running on and on and on and on. Their cases are going on. There are times when bail is granted by the court for under trial prisoners, but there is no one to stand surety for them. So surety is when the court grants you bail, they expect that you have a surety. So someone who comes and stands saying that I know this person and this person is, I'll ensure that this person comes for trial, doesn't escape during trial, and I give my land or this much bond that if he escapes, you can forfeit this much. But when you don't have connections, when you don't have money, when you don't have land, what do you give as surety? So how do you get bail?
That's a very sad situation.
It is a very sad situation. And in cities like Bangalore itself, we have years and years of people under trial and then they get acquitted. So you could either get convicted or acquitted. Convicted means that you are held guilty. Acquitted means that you are innocent of the case that's put against you. So after years and years of trial, when they're acquitted, what about the years that they spent in jail? There's no
Yeah,
compensation
of
for
course.
that.
Yeah. Time once gone is gone. Yeah.
Time is one thing. Secondly, how do you integrate them back into society after that?
Social image.
Image is one thing. It's people don't even accept you. when you go into a prison, it's a very dark place. I'll tell you. I have been to a couple of prisons across Karnataka. It's a dark place. For someone who is extremely privileged, reading about prisons only in books, once you actually enter a prison, it is a dark place because you are around people been who have no opportunity to go outside to use their mind in other ways. Who some of them are hardened convicts, and you're being there mixing with them. So how do you come out? Let's say, as a young 18-year-old, I'm arrested. I'm arrested on charges of theft or wrong. It might be entirely false.
Right. He's not done it, but he's accused of it. Please
He's
talk about
accused
that.
of
Right.
So maybe he's done it, maybe he's not done it. Let's say, so he's arrested. He's put in under trial with hardened criminals who have committed or who are convicted of certain acts, certain heinous acts. As a young, impressionable 18-year-old, how do you think he's going to come out? And
He's going to be psychologically affected.
100%. And there's no support, mental health support given to him after.
There's
nothing given to him after.
It's a good point.
There is no support given. There is no employment support given. He's almost looked at as an outcast. He or she is looked at as an outcast. And I'm sure, everyone already knows with certain cases which keep coming out in the media, prisons are not a nice place to be. If you have money, if you have power, even a prison can become a 5-star hotel. You're bound under 4 walls, but you have access to things which other people don't have. So there are times in prisons where one prisoner will employ another prisoner to do his work, to wash his clothes.
Damn. That happens in the prison?
100%. And these are interactions I've had with people who have come out of prison, who have gone into prison.
So many hit and run cases happening in the country today. So many, right? How is it easy for them? Like, I see so many things on news. That guy got out because of an essay or something. How do they get out so easily? Like, how does it happen? What's the system for them?
Hit and run cases. So
Yeah.
the thing is, I do agree that there are a lot of hit and run cases happening, but statistically, I don't know if they've increased of late. I think if there is one big hit and run case and the media is focusing on that, then tomorrow there's another hit and run case in another part of the country, automatically that gets focus.
Right.
So, and that's highlighted like as if there are a lot of hit and run cases up. So statistically, I don't know if the number of hit and run cases have increased. But speaking about the issue of the essay and things like that, it's then again about, see, that person was a juvenile. The laws for juveniles are different, right? I can't take a person who is below the age of 18 and put him with these hardened criminals. That's going to damage him or whatever. Yes, he has committed an act. He must be punished for that act. But the job of a lawyer is to ensure that, and the job of the court is to ensure that he gets proper punishment, fair punishment, right? So, because there are a lot of cases where there is manipulation, there is that, like, the trial courts give bail, all these things. But at the end of the day, there are the high courts which stand up. We have the media which is bringing up these issues. We have the Supreme Court which is standing by the victims. So, yeah, even though it's not an ideal system, we do have an appellate system wherein they do look into these aspects. But it is very painful to see young people take off expensive cars, take cars, and I don't know what kind of a in Kannada we say shoki that they get. But they're damaging not just their lives, but lives of other people and risk other people on the road, and their parents. And yeah, it's a very sad crime. You should not drive without a license.
Right. Don't
and
drive,
not,
guys, without a license.
and
Be
not
safe.
under the influence of
Alcohol.
any kind of inhibitor or any kind of intoxicant.
Samrudh, you worked with some of the sharpest legal minds. Sorry. How is it like to work with them? What did you learn from them? Right? So, because they are at the top of their game, how is it like to learn from them? What goes through their head? You walk with them, you work with them. Can you talk to me about few l- top advocates or judges you worked with, and what did you learn from them?
So I've had a privilege. I mean, it's definitely a privilege to have worked with some of the top legal minds in the country. Because of the office that I work in, which is AKS Legal, under Senior Counsel A.S. Ponana, who is probably one of the top advocates in Karnataka. Now he's not practicing because he's a legal advisor to the Chief Minister. But I started off my practice with him. Prior to that, I had interned with Justice Revati Dere of the Bombay High Court, who is, in my opinion, one of the most erudite, learned, empathetic judges in the country today. So to work, and I've worked with Dr. Abhishek Singhvi, Dr. Kapil Sibal in some cases, not directly with Mr. Kapil Sibal, but with Dr. Singhvi, I have worked on cases. In the Karnataka High Court, multiple senior counsels, Mr. Fanindra, Mr. Sandesh Chauta, Vikram Huilgol, all these top advocates who are in the Karnataka High Court. So I have had the esteemed privilege of working with all of them. I think each one has their own style. It's each one has their own flair. Each one has their own way in which they present their case. Each one has the kind of cases that they're really good at, uh, the manner in which they approach arguments, the manner in which they approach judges. I mean, as in argue in front of judges, the manner in which they conduct themselves in court, the manner in which they prepare. It's all entirely different. So there's no one formula.
What's one common thing that you can take from them?
Common thing is consistency.
Okay.
Common thing is being open to learn.
Being open to learn irrespective of your position.
Correct. So, for example, Dr. Singhvi, he is so sharp that he knows what the judge is thinking by just the questions that the judge asks. And he frames his argument so eloquently, so beautifully, that when in the MUDA case, he argued about the constitutionality of a certain provision of the governor's powers. And he framed it so beautifully, like almost like a story of how the law was, how the law was intended to be in the constitution, how it came about, how it developed over various judgments, over various years, in various scenarios, and how it applies to this case. And for Singhvi, sir, we actually had to prepare notes, right? Like based on the facts of our case. It was extremely brief. It had to be to the point. So what we would do is we would sit, me and my colleagues, Shazbish and Abhishek, we would sit and we would, say all these points are important, and we would find multiple ways to put across one particular point. And he would say, no, just shorten it, make this entire paragraph into one line. And he has that unique ability to do that, which is what makes him probably the top advocate in the country today.
Let
one
me
of the
cut you
top
right
advocates.
there. While I was introducing you, I spoke about MUDA case. Let me highlight that and talk about that. You were involved actively in the MUDA case. You worked behind closed doors, and it involved a very big name, the Chief Minister of Karnataka, right? Can you talk about those allegations or accusations that were made and what exactly happened? Because a lot of people want to know.
So I had the opportunity to work on the chief minister's case.
Also, how did you land the opportunity?
I landed the opportunity solely because I work with Mr. A.S. Ponana.
Right.
I work in his office. There is no other way that I would have landed this opportunity. And he is the legal advisor to the chief minister. Hence, this case presented its opportunity solely through him. And I'm indebted to him for the opportunity that was given, and not just the opportunity, but also the guidance. And guidance through him, the guidance through other advocates, senior advocates who came across. So the MUDA case, see, it became such a big case because of the image that Mr. Siddaramaiah had
Okay.
of being a non-corrupt leader who is for social justice, right? So the MUDA case became such a frenzy. The allegations were about site allotment that happened 30 years ago.
He's an advocate himself too.
Correct. He's an advocate himself too. So the allegations were about site allotments that happened 15, 20 years ago,
20 years ago.
and land, notification of land, acquiring of land 30 years ago. But that we were discussing today. So in my opinion, there was some kind of political hand behind it. Definitely. A way to destabilize the image of his and to ensure that he tries to resign from his post. But we're glad. I mean, the case is still pending. Some of the cases are still pending. But we are glad that the courts have accepted the B report. A B report is a report that conclusively says, after investigation, that there is no criminality in the actions of Mr. Siddaramaiah, his wife, or his brother-in-law, or anyone in his family with regard to any allotment of sites in the MUDA case. So he has been given a clean sheet in the case.
You
As
said
of-
30 years ago. Why did it come up today?
It came up today, as I said, solely
Political.
for political reasons. There was the main allegation was that Mr. Siddaramaiah's wife was allotted 14 sites in lieu of compensation for land lost. So the allegation was, how can they allot 14 sites with such high value to, and that those sites were allotted only because Mr. Siddaramaiah misused his position as Chief Minister between 2013 and 18.
Okay. Got it. Which is not true.
Which is not true. Definitely, because the issue is, see, thousands of farmers, lakhs of farmers lose their land to these kind of acquisitions by development authorities, by urban development authorities. And what happens is, if you lose your land, your constitutional right is to be compensated for that land,
Okay.
right? So tomorrow, if the government takes over your land, you have to be compensated for it. So in the same way, the government had taken over land and they had given legal compensation for it. So yeah, there was an issue that it was blown out of proportion. The governor's office was dragged in. Actually, the additional Solicitor General, Mr. Tushar Mehta, was brought in for the MUDA case. And credit to him, I think, as a lawyer standing on the opposite side, when I watched him argue the case, he was very convincing. He was very convincing regarding the powers of the governor. And then again, you hear Dr. Singhvi argue and you're convinced by him. So this shows you their ability as advocates to put forth the argument in such a way that you're able to convince even the opposite side advocate. That's a real talent in itself.
Lots to learn.
There
Lots
is
to learn. Yeah.
lots to learn.
After this case, did you see or what did you learn between politics and law? Do they go hand in hand or what was it like?
Politics and law do go hand in hand. Definitely. A lot of political battles are fought out in court, which at least gives an end to the political
Because
battle.
you saw the best of both worlds. Yeah.
So this was a very interesting case which I got to learn a lot from, wherein we had to delve so deeply into aspects of law that one single comma, one single word in every section, we had to analyze and reanalyze and, go back to judgments, read them. So it was a great experience going into the depth of the matter. But one thing I think the media got wrong is that they started saying that because Mr. Siddaramaiah's wife returned the 14 sites, it is an admission of guilt. They kept saying it's an admission of guilt. And they tried to compress, 50,000 pages of documents into a 2-sentence headline.
What was the 2-sentence headline?
A 2-sentence headline, the Chief Minister has been held, has illegally
So
taken
they blow
14
everything out of
sites.
proportion.
So I think there required a lot more restraint to be made in that. Because right now, no one's talking about the clean shit. Nobody's asking for an apology. The enforcement directorate came. The courts held that the ED was being misused in this case. The Supreme Court held that the ED is being misused in this case. So while it was a legal battle, there was a lot of aspects of political sabotage that came into it.
Got it.
But we were fortunate that the courts looked into the matter deeply and are grateful that they have come out with this clean sheet.
Right. Samrudh, you have been actively involved in politics. Recently concluded Vidhan Sabha election. You work closely with Mr. A.S. Ponana in Virajpete, right? It's a district in Cook, yeah. So you stayed there for 5 months, if I'm right?
I stayed in Virajpet Assembly constituency for 5 months. So I joined my boss, Mr. A.S. Ponana, whom in my eyes is an extremely far-sighted, intelligent, grounded, well-intentioned lawyer and politician. So he's someone that I really look up to. And I'm fortunate to have got an opportunity to work with him.
Did
and
you
that's-
go and say, I'm going to help you out? Or did he say, come help me out? What was it?
So he doesn't ask for help,
Okay.
one thing. In 2021, as soon as I graduated from my college, I had interned with Purana sir on 2 occasions before that when he
So
was
you've been
Additional
closely
Advocate General.
associated with him from a long time.
He is well known to my father
Okay.
and my uncle.
Okay.
So as soon as I graduated, I took my CV and I went to him and I was like, "Sir, I went with my uncle and I was like, "Sir, I need an opportunity to work." So he looked at me, he said, "Yeah, for sure, I'll find you some office where you can work." So I said, "No, sir, I want to work in your office." And he looked at me and he said, "See, actually, I don't have much space in my office." At the time, there were already probably 6 to 7, 8 colleagues working in the space. He said, "I don't probably have space for you, but I'll see what I
He
can
was
do."
practicing then.
He was practicing. He was a senior counsel in the Karnataka High Court. He was practicing. He was the chairman of the Karnataka KPCC Legal Cell, the Karnataka Congress Legal Cell. And he was an aspirant for the Virajpet. So at that time, I went and and then I told him, "Sir, I request you, like, even if you give me one chair and one small table, I'll sit on the ground also and work for you if I have to." So he looked at me, he smiled, he said, "Okay, you know what? I'll give you an opportunity, but you know that you've got the opportunity only because you are so and so's son and because you have such a background." So he made it very clear to me, and he made me work for it. My first salary we got after 10 months. And that was such a rewarding experience, And I'm lucky, I'm fortunate that I have parents who are willing to take care of me till I don't have to depend on my own earnings. But the first salary you receive after 10 months, it feels very rewarding. So working with him, I think from 2021 itself, in our office, we were doing a lot of work for Virajpet and Kodagu. Be it free legal aid, free cases for everyone, a lot of land issues we were helping out in. We were doing free cases for anyone who comes from Coorg. Even now we do it. So it was a lot of good experience for us also. And uh, there are 2 types to learn how to swim, right? You can sit on a boat and see someone swim and learn, or you can jump into the water and try it. So I think Purana sir gave us the opportunity to jump into the water directly. And they were within 2 months or 3 months of becoming an advocate, I was arguing cases in the in the High Court, in the Sessions Court. So I'm really grateful for that opportunity. So in 2022 end, uh, when we were all practicing, he decided that he has to take a break from law because he has to go and fight the elections in Virajpet. Now, Virajpet is a part of Coorg. I'm sure Kodagu, Coorg, they have their own customs and intricacies in population. They are they have their own land laws. They have coffee estates. They have their own issues. They have environmental issues. So the issues of people of Kodagu are very nuanced and very in detail. It's not like any other rural constituency that you can equate it to. They have a long-standing history. Before it was a state in itself, they had their own chief minister. Coorg had its own chief
Really?
minister. Yeah, there's a chief minister of Coorg until it now became a district in
District
in
in
itself.
Karnataka. Yeah.
So it was really interesting to see uh, the Purana sir go in to that election because it was his first election as well.
And he's also a localite over there. So
He's a localite.
yeah, so
So he is
he
the
can
son
relate
of
very well to the problems the people are facing of Cook.
correct. So he is the son of Mr. A.K. Subaya, who's a very, very tall leader of Kodagu, unabashed, very vocal, ideological, very person who is very realistic and who isn't afraid to say what is the truth. So he was a leader of opposition actually when my great grandfather was the chief minister. And now I'm working for his son, so it's a good it's a turnaround. So he is his son, and for me to view Mr. Purana sir as he took on the election, it wasn't just about speeches, Anshul. What I saw, it's like now what you assume is you go in a rally, you speak, you get votes. I think Purana sir approached it in a very, very different way. He went into the stalls, the chowdies, he went into the uh,
Coffee
estates, he went into the labor camps, he went into every single house, he went and spoke to them, and he remembered. He remembered every person's name, every person's issues, and he spoke about the issues that matter, which is what gave him the edge. And what I personally witnessed is I got the opportunity to travel the ins and outs of Virajpet. So, as I said, it's a very nuanced constituency. Uh, it opens your eyes up a lot that there are still people who believe that they are superior to another human being. They believe that they are superior on caste lines, on religious lines, on so the way they treat people also is very different. So I saw a lot of uh, laborers, the condition of where they live, the condition of how they are made to live, the condition of how they earn, the fact that their children are not given the required education, the fact that they have to travel so much to get decent education, the fact that for generations together, people of certain castes are kept in a certain place to continue to work in a certain job. Now, if what happens is, it's always aspirational, right? If my father is so and so, you always aspire to be one step ahead. But that's not what the case has been for a majority of the population who has been kept in the same profession generation after generation after generation. And I also got to see the access, I also got to see the lives of people who live in tribal areas. So because of the proximity of Virajpet to the forest, to Nagarole, and to other such Titimati and other such places, you got to see how the tribals function, their way of life. Now you can't go and immediately give them schools and infrastructure and be like, their way of life is also different. Their man-animal conflicts, a lot of conflicts with tigers coming in and mauling children, elephants trampling a young student who is going. So these are the issues in Virajpet, which you'd never see sitting in Bangalore, right? Sitting in Bangalore, we have our civic apathies. We complain about roads, potholes, We complain sometimes about jobs, about waterlogging. We are in a bubble, as I like to say. We complain about employment opportunities, traffic. But when you go down there to the rural areas, when you go down to the very depths of Virajpet, it opens up your eyes that we are so privileged, that people are leading lives which are so complicated, which are so difficult.
So you stayed with him for 5 months. Did you politically help him campaign, like campaigning and all that?
Yes, definitely. So we were part of the campaign management and the strategy team and the legal team also, because there's a lot of electioneering which requires the law. So when it comes to the model code of conduct being imposed, you have to give an affidavit of your assets and liabilities to the every person standing for an election has to give out a nomination paper. So with that nomination paper, he must disclose all his assets, his liabilities. He has to disclose his dependents' assets and liabilities, and all that must be to the T. Because even if there's one mistake, they can reject your nomination paper. Or if there's a mistake, tomorrow your election can be held as invalid
Hmm.
in a court of law, in the High
So
Court,
you
an
help him
election commission.
through and
So
through.
you help, and then and at the end of the election, you have to declare your expenses, how much you spent during an election. The limit in Karnataka this time was 40 lakhs, so some around 20 to 40 lakhs. I'm not sure. I think I don't remember. It was 20 to 40 lakhs. Uh, that you have to show that on this rally you spent this much on chairs, this much on photography, this much on, and there'll be election officials sitting and seeing, making an estimate of how much you spent, or your cars, your fuel, your allowances. It's a very intricate process. The electioneering process is a very intricate process, especially once the model code of conduct comes into place. Because if you hold a rally after the model code of conduct, that rally must be accounted for. Although in reality that there is a lot more liquidity of money flowing, uh, which I'll probably tell you off camera, of how much an election really costs. Maybe the election commission isn't doing that great of a job in controlling that
Surveillance.
surveillance. Yeah. But it's a way to bring back the money back into the system also. It's one way to look at it. So because you're concentrating wealth in a few hands over 5 years, and once in 5 years, that person you have to get them to spend.
So Mr. A.S. Ponana won, right? Government was formed. And I'm asking this because you're a Youth Congress spokesperson. Can you talk about the freebies? What's happening there? Like it's been 3 years since uh, Mr. Siddaramaiah's government, along with Mr. DK Shivakumar's government, came into place, and there were a lot of freebies doing rounds. So, how is it affecting the state's exchequer and also the people who are receiving it? Are they being consistent with it? What do you have to say about it?
So I think the Karnataka model is a model that is being studied across the globe for its freebies right now. I would not call it a freebie. I would call it a welfare scheme.
Okay.
There is a difference because what people are calling a burden is what I call an investment.
Investment by?
Investment by the government on the people. And you're giving the people power to spend for themselves. So the United Nations has this concept of a universal basic income. And through these guarantee schemes, the Karnataka government is furthering these. So let me explain to you the Karnataka budget. Like this is just a brief, right? So Karnataka contributes somewhere around 4.5 lakh crores to the central government, the union budget. We give 4.5 lakh crores. How much do we receive, do you think, Anshul, per year?
Half of it?
We receive 50,000 crores, 45 to 50,000 crores. So for every 100 rupees that we send there, we're getting back 13 rupees. So in itself, there is And definitely, a state like Karnataka is developed. We have to fund other schemes in different states which are growing, like Jharkhand, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh. We are funding their schemes. But look at the proportion of how much of our money from Karnataka is being spent there. So naturally, we are forced to borrow. And we are well within the limits of borrowing, of fiscal discipline. Our deficit is somewhere around 2.9%, which is completely normal. So, this is the first kind of scheme in the entire country wherein you're giving direct beneficiary transfers.
Right, and people have received it. It was just not
Direct.
a elections
It is
scheme.
not just an election slogan, it is a direct beneficiary transfer to the women of the state. Let's start off with this 2000 rupee scheme. Now, for you and I, we can say, hey, people will get lazy. People will get lazy, they won't work if you give them money like this. But Anshul, have you truly felt what hunger feels like? Have you truly felt what it feels like when you don't have money to buy medicine for your child or for your family? This 2000 rupees is empowering women across Karnataka. So, King's College London did a study in Karnataka. In fact, they came here, they had respondents here, they collected data, and they found that women of the state are spending money, the 2000 rupees that's being given to them, on very constructive things, on medicine, on food, on education, on technology. So, in a sense, you're giving them financial freedom. I'm not saying 2000 is a big amount, right? But if I give 2000 rupees to the head of the household, there are stories of people buying laptops for their children
With 2000 rupees?
over a
Or
couple of
couple of
years,
years.
saving over a couple of months. So per year, it's about 24,000 rupees. So, for example, they won't be able to buy a TV, fridge. So you're spending it where? You're spending it back into the economy.
That's a great initiative.
So what happens is the women are not spending the 2000 rupees and taking the 2000 rupees and putting it in a Cayman Islands account or an account in another shell company outside the country. Where are they spending?
On themselves, on their kids, on
They're
their
spending
livelihood.
in India. So what happens? It boosts local infrastructure, it boosts local businesses, and a very important Shakti scheme of the free buses
To women.
for women. It is such an empowering scheme. It allows women to travel across the state. Historically, women have and society has been patriarchal. It is patriarchal. Women's movement have always been restricted across Karnataka, across India, across the world. In the US, women got rights to vote in the 1960s.
In India?
In India, because of our constitution, because of Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar, and we got it in 1947. But even then, right to property came out only much later for women. The woman's share in the father's property, grandfather's ancestral property came out only in the 2000s. So, in such a situation, isn't it the duty of the government to ensure that women are empowered, that women are allowed to travel the state without thinking twice?
It's a great initiative by the government, but isn't it affecting the health of the balance sheet or the state's financial situation?
Anshul, what the issue
What
is,
I've read is the state's debt has increased after the Congress government has come into power.
so
because
I'll give you a simple example. The country's debt, India's debt, as on 2014, the day before Modi took office, was somewhere around 50 lakh crores. Today, 10 years, 12 years after his government, it is touching 200 lakh crores. Is he giving any benefit, direct benefit like this?
nothing, absolutely nothing.
And when we write off crores and crores of loans given to top industrialists, top capitalists, they take lakhs and crores of loans, they gamble with it. It's almost a gamble. They gamble with it. They take from the banks, they don't pay it back, they flee the country. Some people are in the country and they get concessions. 6 lakh crores of worth of loans were written off. So what is better? The duty of the government is to protect the people, or is it to protect a small percentage of people? Right now, Indian economy is in a K-shaped economy. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. Now tell me, do you think you have access if you want to start a business today
Got it. Yeah.
and you are an expert at, let's say, cricket, or you're an expert at fuel management, or an expert at running airports? You have the most amount of knowledge, you have a great team. Do you think you have a chance to compete with someone like an Adani or an Ambani? It's impossible.
Of course not, because yeah,
That's how it works, right? So you're writing off lakhs and lakhs of crores of loan for them, but it becomes a burden when you're giving 2,000 rupees for a woman who really needs it. And this is a burden we can afford to take, because as I mentioned, our revenue is 4,50,000 crores. So if we get our share, if we get our GST compensation, we would not require
why is the central
a
government
deficit.
not giving that?
I am told that the 15th Financial Commission, they have increased our share. But the central government also has its issues of having to put developmental work across the country. They can't look at only one state, right? Karnataka has the highest FDI. We are generating the highest amount of investment. After Maharashtra, we are generating the highest amount of investment. We have the highest collection of taxes in Karnataka. We are one of the fastest growing. Our per capita income is great compared to most of the states. Our per capita is doing really well. Our inflation is in control. So these are the economic indicators that you should be looking at, is what I feel. So there is a lot of hoo-ha done about the freebies. And there is a difference, right, which I have to clarify here, is that Karnataka is the only state where the government has promised the welfare schemes and continued and acted on it. So when was this promised? This was promised before the elections. Before the elections, when the Congress government was not in power.
Got it. Okay.
We were in opposition. So what happened? We said that this is part of our manifesto. So every party gets to put out a manifesto of what they will do when they come to power. I will build X amount of roads, give this much education to this much amount for education, this much for this community, that much for that community. So as part of the manifesto, we released this 5 guarantees. And the people of Karnataka accepted these guarantees as part of our manifesto. And once we came to power, we delivered on this. Now I'll tell you the difference of what happened in Bihar. In Bihar, Nitish Kumar was in power. Just before elections, he decided to outright release 10,000 rupees to the women of the state. That's not financial burden. Decided to outright release. Here, what is happening in Karnataka? We budget it. We allocate X amount of our budget to the guarantee schemes. 52,000 crores is allocated to the guarantee schemes. And it is part of our balance sheet. There is no balance sheet. Randomly, just before the elections, you decide to give 10,000 rupees to every woman. Is that not inducement? Is that not bribery? What is different here is it was in our manifesto. So what is in your manifesto can't be corrupt practice. But what was done there in Bihar, and now it's happening in Tamil Nadu also, which I don't think is right. It's not healthy for a country like India. just before elections, the party in power will release funds which is not accounted for just before elections are announced. And then they'll come back to power and nothing about the scheme. Now, how much have the women in Bihar got after that 10,000? Is it a monthly thing? No. So, can you be allowed to give this kind of a one time payment? Isn't it bribery and inducement in itself? So, that's the difference. There's a stark difference between the two.
Let's talk about nepotism and privilege, right? I'm pretty sure it wasn't hard for you to get into uh, being a spokesperson of the Indian National Youth Congress. You're also the chairman, right? Right.
Legal cell.
Yeah. So you come from a very rich background of being D. Devaraj Aris'
Great grandson.
great grandson. So that itself is a, and D. Devaraj Aris wasn't just any ex-CM, right? Even today, there's a road named after him. Is a statue. So how hard is it for you to carry forward his legacy?
So, talking about privilege, I'm a straight male who is the great grandson of a former chief minister who has studied in probably one of the best schools in Bangalore, studied in probably one of the best law schools in India. Uh, so definitely, yes, I am extremely, extremely privileged, and I acknowledge it. I am aware that I have the privilege. I come from a very uh, liberal household who have always encouraged me to pursue what I want to pursue. They have stood by me, my parents. I come from a very loving household. So, yeah, definitely, I'm extremely privileged. Uh, I there is. I mean, everybody has their own struggles, and there is the odd time when there is political competition, where people in politics don't want uh, people from me or from my family or me to grow because of the legacy. But the privilege far far outweighs this any kind of negative impact that comes with the name, right? And outweighs it by like a million quintals. So I do acknowledge that I have access, I have networks. The fact that I got into the office that I got into was because of privilege. The fact that I got into the profession and the fact that I speak well is because of privilege. So it comes from all there. I think it's important to acknowledge it. But you shouldn't stop at acknowledging it, right? You should also look back and see what you can do for others. I shouldn't look behind me and pull up the ladder. Instead, I should keep the ladder there and allow people to grow and give other people such opportunities and probably push them as much as I can. Talking about living up to the legacy, I don't think I can fill the shoes of such a great man. Of how much from what I've heard and what I've read, he literally brought in a bloodless land revolution in India, in Karnataka. The fact that there was, he removed he brought in the 20-point program. He worked for social justice. He was the voice of the voiceless. The fact that he redistributed land to thousands and lakhs of farmers. It's something that is honestly, you just look back and you're like, this is historic. The fact that he did it even with so much opposition from within his own party, from outside, from dominant castes, from everyone, the fact that he stood against it and did it, or obviously it's something that we just look up to in awe and we're mesmerized by it. But I don't think I'll ever be able to fill in those kind of shoes. Uh, while yes, I may have the best intentions, I think it was a matter of circumstance, the matter of his character, a matter of him as a person that made him so great and even remembered today. Because the impact that when you have an impact directly on people's lives, they remember you. People tend to remember you. So, well, yeah, I might have the best intentions of how I look at it, but to fill in the shoes of such a tall leader is, I don't think I'm taking forward any legacy because he's left a legacy that can't be matched.
Right? He's always in the news. I mean, recently, Mr. Siddaramaiah surpassed his tenure of being the longest serving CM. Yeah, that's also a great feat by Devrajas to fulfill, and also Siddaramaiah also again. So what do you feel about that?
So I think that's great that someone who's also come up on the similar region, similar party, same
Would you have been
agenda.
fine with it if it was someone from another party?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's a mandate of the people. I am no one to be fine or not fine with it. Records are meant to be broken. Karnataka had not had a CM who had served 2 terms
Yes,
continuously
exactly.
ever.
Yes,
So now, at least, I mean, even now, though now it's not continuous, we have a longest serving
yes,
chief minister.
yes.
Tomorrow, somebody else will come. These records are for the books. I think it's also important to look into the history books as to what you did, right? So today I see a lot of people criticizing Siddaramaiah and for what he's doing. But I think people will go forward in history and look back and be like, yeah, he really did a great job. So same way, even when Mr. D. Devarajas was in power, there was a lot of talk about how he is not functioning properly and about how there was internalized corruption. And for the next, after he died, probably after 5, 6 years, no one even spoke about him. So now we look back and we appreciate and talk about him as such a great CM. So, yeah, I think politics is that people do remember the good that you did for them.
Samrudh, now let's get into the personal side of things. I've heard you play football and you love football, right? Please talk about your love towards football. Like, how did it start? How did it shape you as an individual and as a lawyer? Do you still play?
So, I do still play once in a while, though, not as frequently as I want to. But I started football from a very young age. My father used to play football in Valikaval grounds with Vinayaka Football Club. So, I, as a young toddler, used to play with him. And then it just got me into the sport, and then I played for the school team, and then we won the 10th standard kisa, and we played represented Karnataka state ICSE schools for football. I was also into athletics. I used to do distance running. uh, so yeah, sport has always been a very important part of my life, especially team sport. I don't enjoy individual sports much. I enjoy playing with a group of people. And I really played a lot of football in my college days. The Symbiosis team was almost unbeaten. We had a fantastic team in Symbiosis. We won a lot of law tournaments in Symbiosis. Uh, Probably one of the best law teams at the time. Now, again, we've started playing our lawyers
Talk
football
about that.
tournament.
Yeah, yeah.
So here too we won. So yeah, it was fun. It was a
It's
great.
actually a great initiative, where all the law firms around Bangalore come together and organize this football tournament. Can you please talk more about that? I
So
feel
it's not just football. They
other
also
professions should
organize.
do it too.
Yeah, so we are not just organize football, but also they organize cricket and
Yeah, yeah.
various other sports. But the football one is the most, at least the one most talked about one. So every year in the month of December, the previous winners of the previous years host the tournament, and it's a good place where there's a lot of camaraderie and competition, and you get to really see advocates and play football. And it's fun.
It's
It's a
fun.
great fun.
It's nice. It's 2026, right? And the FIFA World Cup is around the corner. What's your take on that? Who are you supporting? Talk about that.
As a Ronaldo fan, if you don't want Ronaldo to complete football and win the 2026 World Cup, I mean that would be such a great experience for to watch him lift the World Cup. But let's see. I think there are a couple of really good teams this time. A lot of young sides. Uh, let's see. I really want Portugal to win, but let's see how it goes. It's going to be an interesting World Cup, though.
Right. Samrudh, as a lawyer, the kind of cases you've received are mostly criminal or matrimony, right?
Yeah, I do a lot of constitutional, criminal, and matrimonial.
So would you choose between crime or relationship?
Uh, so a lot of relationships lead to crime.
Okay. Yeah.
So they're two very different things. I think when a client comes to me after being accused of a crime, it's different. When a client comes uh, in a matrimonial setup wanting custody and divorce, it's entirely different.
What do you like
I think
arguing
it's a
better?
lot more personal when it comes to a matrimonial case because you're a lot vulnerable with your partner. You share your entire life with your partner, and then at one point of time, you have to come and air all your dirty laundry in public, right? You have to come and speak to your lawyers. And for lawyers, what? We just have to type it in, right? We just have to draft. The respondent did so and so, the respondent did. But these are real people's feelings, right? So when they're in such a uh, setup where they're in a safe space and suddenly their safe space is invaded into, they get really I'd say as a lot of people get really emotional about their cases.
What do you like working with more? Matrimony or criminal cases?
I find myself more challenged with criminal cases.
Criminal cases. Okay.
Uh, Even though I've been doing a lot of
Can
matrimonial
you
cases.
give me one example that you loved working on? One criminal case you loved working on?
So there was one case where I worked on where the person was alleged to have set fire to court records.
Court
So court
records.
records. The allegations case is still going on. So I worked on that case. So going through the evidence and he had another disproportionate assets case. So arguing that uh, it was all really interesting. A lot of interesting criminal cases come in. Even matrimonial cases, you deal with so many different kinds of people, so many different kinds of relationships, uh, different ways that they want to react to the situation. A lot of kids who are involved, a lot of minors who are involved in like bitter custody disputes. So yeah.
Does the court provide counseling to people who come for divorce cases?
Yes, so there is a mediation,
Okay.
mandatory mediation that every couple must go through. So, which is a good thing
Yeah,
in
that's
the
actually a
Indian
good
legal
thing. Yeah.
system that once they file a divorce case, even if it's a mutual consent, they try to mediate between the parties and try to resolve conflict in a more uh, civil manner.
Have you ever walked out of court saying that, "Che, I shouldn't have argued this case"?
Yeah, actually, that there has been two occasions where this has happened to me. My conscience wasn't feeling the best after leaving court. There was one case wherein a client was accused of murder and he was accused number 4. But his role in that case was that he was the owner of the building where the murder
How
occurred.
to have?
But there was nothing placing him on the scene of the crime. So this was a case for bail and he wasn't arrested. I had filed anticipatory bail. And this is a case where there was SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act, which is attracted in this case. So there was abuse and then murder of a person who belonged to the SC/ST community. So, and he was a laborer, and A123 were also laborers. So there was some dispute, and the allegation was A123 hit the laborer on the head, and he passed away. So I was for accused number 4, the building owner, and I had filed for bail. And in SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities cases, the victim gets a chance to oppose your bail. Otherwise, usually it's the prosecution, the state of Karnataka, who is doing it. But here, the victim also gets a chance to oppose your bail. So the victim came in, the victim's wife, and she had a 1-year-old son. And she had no idea why she was there. She's just lost her husband. She's been pulled to court because notice has gone to her. She has to be present. She's come to court. She's holding her child. She doesn't know what's happening. They're talking in English, documents are in English. She's probably not educated. She said, she came to court and she said, I'm a housemaid, that she works in someone's house as a maid, as a helper. And it just broke me just looking at her. And I'm like, I feel so bad. She's lost the only breadwinner of her family, right? There are three other people here who are fighting for bail. I luckily didn't appear for them, but they also deserve legal representation. So somebody was appearing for them. And I was in court and I just froze. I was arguing for bail and I was like, yeah, the prosecution has made a fake case. He wasn't even present at the spot. He was here, he was there, that, this. I'm trying to make out a case for bail. And then I came out and I said, what about that woman?
So you felt
Where's the justice for her?
you felt guilty for.
See, you can always internalize and find an excuse for yourself to be like, yeah, it's okay. What I did was right because I didn't argue for accused number 1, 2, 3. I argued only for accused number 4. He didn't do anything. You can always internalize it. But at the end of the day, it's another human life, right? The kind of struggles that they go through, kind of struggles that they've been through.
But yeah, as a lawyer, you cannot actually be getting very emotional when you're fighting for a case, though you know the person who you're defending is on the wrong side of things.
So, right or wrong is a very difficult word to use in law. What may be right to you may not be right to me. But the question is it whether it's legal or not. And if it's not, then what punishment you should get, what sentence you should get. There are a lot of intricacies in that. I was always told that you have to maintain your professionalism, and many an advocate tells you that you shouldn't get attached to your cases, you shouldn't get emotional. But I find myself more often than not attached to my cases. I'm emotionally invested in my cases. I end up looking at my clients like as if they're like very close to me. And I hate losing cases. I mean, you do lose, but I hate losing. So, yeah, I mean, you do get emotionally invested to some extent. I do at least.
Right. If a budding graduate wants to enter law and politics together without having any kind of background, right? How hard is it for him to enter into this field considering they're already well established players in this field?
I will be honest, there's definitely a lot of barriers to entry. You'll have to come with a clear ideology, with a clear plan. The issue is that at the end of the day, you need networks. Networks open doors for you. You need to have a kind of background. You need to have something to offer, right? You need to have either competence or something to offer in these fields. So it is extremely difficult as a young budding advocate or a lawyer to get into these fields. The barriers to entry are very high. But I think if you're clear on your view and with what you want to do, and even if you want to wing it, you can try. It's definitely an opportunity which is open because politics is not shut out to everyone. Everyone can try their hand in politics. We've seen businessmen, actors, everyone try their hand in politics. So definitely you can try, but it's a long game. You'll have to understand that you can't make any kind of change in a span of a couple of months.
You also
Takes
need a
time.
lot of capital.
Yeah,
Also,
for sure. Not just economic capital, but also social capital.
social capital.
Because I think also your caste, your religion, your gender, all of it makes a lot of difference.
Right. There's recently this corporate BBMP election that's coming up. And from what I'm.
GBA now.
Yeah.
Greater Bangalore Authority.
Sorry, GB election. And they're focusing more on women. They're giving the ticket only to women, 3. So what do you have to say about this?
I think that's a fantastic new initiative that's come in.
Yeah.
49% of our population is women, but in the electoral representatives, they form barely 10-15%. So I think the 50% reservation for women in local bodies is extremely important because women have to lead.
Yeah.
Women have
It's a
to,
good initiative.
they are more empathetic, they're more peaceful, they're more visionaries. There are many more visionaries in as women. So they can take forward society in a much faster fashion, in the right direction, in my opinion. So it's good to have women in leadership roles.
You're a pro-Congress spokesperson?
I am a Congress
You're a
spokesperson.
Congress
So
spokesperson.
I'm naturally pro-Congress, yes.
Pro-Congress, right. So now, of course, in India, there are two main parties, two main national parties, in Congress and BJP, right? Tell me one good thing about BJP, one good thing about Congress, one bad thing about BJP, and one bad thing about Congress. Everybody has flaws. Come on.
I think I would be absolutely brainwashed if I was not able to say good things about the BJP or criticize the Congress. So I think the BJP is extremely good at narrative building and at organizational efficiency. The way that they're able to convert slogans into sustained sentiment is praiseworthy. Because on Monday morning, they bring in the farm laws, and the entire ecosystem will be praising the farm laws. And on Tuesday night, they'll repeal the farm laws, and everyone will still be praising the fact that they repeal the farm laws.
This is the good, positive.
The positive thing, the fact that they have such a great machinery, a PR, the fact that they're able to set the narrative. On Monday morning, we'll all be criticizing Donald Trump, saying how dare he impose tariffs. On Tuesday morning, then again they'll praise him, saying, "Oh my God, now Trump and Modi are friends." So the fact that they're able to build the narrative so quickly and so much of a 180 is praiseworthy, and the fact that their organizational efficiency is really praiseworthy. The fact that they build uh, young leaders without background and they give them an opportunity is something that uh, is praiseworthy. With respect to the Congress being a good thing, is I think that they function on the ideals of the Constitution on social justice, which is a very strong factor for the Congress. Negative thing about the BJP, you just open my Instagram page, I just keep trashing on them every day for every single action that they do. More often than not, they get it wrong. They are probably the manner in which that they're leading the country into almost like a dictatorship oblivion right now is worrisome. The fact that the wealth of the country is concentrated in few hands, and they are making us fight on lines of religion and caste, and making othering a kind of population. That's extremely bad for the country. Um, they're trying to make a very uniform kind of India, which is impossible with the kind of diversity that we have. One bad thing about the Congress, uh, or one criticism of the Congress, is probably that we're being portrayed as a Muslim oriented party, and that we're not able to counter that narrative. The fact that we do work for all religions, all sections of society, but we're being targeted that we're only favoring one particular uh, religion. And the other aspect would be to give accountability. Accountability in Congress is very low because um, I think organizationally we need to develop stronger youngsters who are more talented and give them more opportunities. And another part of the Congress is we have not been able to find the RSS and BJP people within our ranks. So during elections, suddenly people will leave and jump sides and jump ship, but we're not able to figure out who's on which side. So that's something that we have to work on.
Right, Samrudh. That's thank you so much for that. Also, in Congress in Karnataka, I don't know if it's a media narrative or it's been doing rounds. And since you're here with me today, I want to ask you about this power tussle that's been happening. DK Shivakumar versus Siddaramaiah. What is happening? Like, I know being powerful is really important and it gives you a lot of privilege, but what's actually happening? Do you have any idea? Anything to comment
So
about?
I think it's a very healthy kind of leadership tussle that should exist in a democracy. That is the beauty of a
People say there is
democracy.
a tussle, and then next day, DK Shivakumar invites him for a nice breakfast, and it looks nice. But internally, any news?
So I am not privy to that kind of or that level of information. The kind of opinion I have is shaped from my experience and what I've seen on news media, and the same, and speaking to some people who have connections to them. But I would like to say that such healthy competition is required in a democracy. The fact that we have not just two, according to me, in Congress, we have a host of leaders who are capable enough to become the chief minister. We don't want to foster an environment wherein today the High Command decides that the entire cabinet shall be removed, the entire cabinet is removed, and some random person is put as chief. We don't want to create a situation where sitting chief minister, 4 times the chief minister, will suddenly be removed, like how it was done in Madhya Pradesh, and somebody else will be there. So it is a healthy competition. While it might cause confusion and switching narratives, it may distract from what actually is important to the state. I think there are so many important issues that the state has to consider, but instead we are deviating on these issues of. So I think a clarification will come out sooner or later. Uh, Another important question that everyone has to ask is probably what will Mr. DK Shivakumar sir do as the chief minister that he can't already do as a deputy chief minister. So I think it's everybody's individual opinion of who has to become a chief minister. But according to me, at the end of the day, it's a post.
He's a very enigmatic personality.
Yeah, he's a very strong leader, very
Yes.
organizational leader. He's built the organization. He's very pragmatic. So he's a very a great leader. So, but is the CM post the know all and end all, and is that the final way that you can contribute to people's lives? Is also something that you have.
Right. That's a good point to get up. Also, this is purely a hypothetical question off script. In the upcoming Vidhan Sabha election, if BJP wins, right? Hypothetical. Who do you think from the BJP is a ideal candidate to be in the CM's chair in Karnataka?
In Karnataka.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting question. I haven't thought
You
about
can
it.
name one person.
The leaders in BJP right now, in fact, I don't think that if this question is asked to even Amit Shah, I don't think he'll have an answer to this right now.
Absolutely. If I'm ask
Because
you, I can't ask
think
Amit
even
Shah. I
they'll-
can ask you.
No, I think even they'll be confused as to who should be the CM or who is suited to be the CM, because in the last tenure, they have switched about 4 chief ministers. They shifted chief ministers again last tenure. So, but one politician in Karnataka BJP whom I think is very sensible and who is doing very reasonable, good work is Yaduvir Krishnadatta Chamaraja Wadeyar. Yaduvir Wadeyar is doing a fantastic job in Mysore. He is not bigoted. He is maybe a dynast but he's a very open-minded,
Okay, I had another
well-educated.
name in mind. I thought you were going to mention that name.
What's the other name?
Tejasvi Surya.
No, I don't think he'd be a good chief minister for Karnataka, solely for the reason that he's not inclusive, that he's very exclusionary in his thinking. I think Yaduvir would be an extremely good choice, because when you become chief minister of Karnataka, you don't just become chief minister of Bangalore, or Mysore, or Hubli, or Dharwad. You become from the top of Karnataka till the end. And to have that kind of pan Karnataka reach, hold, acceptance is very difficult. And I think our leaders like Siddaramaiah ji have brought in that kind of acceptance. So in the BJP right now, I don't think there's one face that has that kind of acceptance. But if there is someone who lives by the constitutional values, I think it's Yaduvir.
Right. Now, you've heard a lot about AI tech, right? The entire world is going gaga over AI. In your profession as a lawyer, do you think AI will ever overpower law or will take the profession's, the job of a lawyer? You think AI will ever do that?
I hope not. But
I mean, what I
I
feel,
do see AI. I mean, go ahead.
what I feel is it cannot directly take up a lawyer's job because you can get a lot of information with the help of AI, but I don't think in terms of AI, it can't directly replace a lawyer.
As on date, yes. As of today, with the way that AI is, as on today, maybe yes. I don't think it would be able to replace a lawyer because a lawyer has to look into a lot of more intricate nuances of a person's life, of liberty, of of every case. You need to look into it because no two cases are the same. There are no two cases which have identical circumstances and same facts because each person is different. The facts will be automatically be different. So for AI to apply one kind of rule to all the facts would not be as accurate. But that being said, I think all lawyers should definitely start using AI, start equipping themselves for AI because it makes research so much easier. It makes drafting so much easier. It basically scans the web for you, right? But then again, right, as of today, I'm talking that you still have to use your own mind after using AI, right? So you get an AI report from AI, and then you apply your mind to what it says, and then take the relevant portions and then apply it in courtrooms. But in due time, maybe if AI is fed enough data, if AI is given enough context, which eventually will be, in my opinion, it may be able to quicken the justice system. It may be able to make it more transparent because right now we have lot of legal AI firms who are working on document reading and scanning of documents and grounds and things like that. So yes, it would really aid and assist lawyers. So for any young lawyer starting out in the profession, it's extremely important for him to inculcate uh, AI into his practice and profession, but also the implications that AI has on other parts of society. So, using AI in law is one aspect, but law has to govern AI to some extent, right? So, you can't misuse this. There's a lot of misuse of AI, there's a lot of ways in which AI is going to be used in the future, which require proper legislation and regulation. So the law will also have to look into how to regulate and legislate AI because tomorrow, if anyone is being able to openly build AI models, which can end up becoming dangerous, there has to be some kind of restriction, right?
Yeah, can you also tell the viewers why was this change from IPC to BNS, if I'm right? What was the reason for the change and what is BNS now? Like, why was there a change?
So this, in my opinion, is I'm as a politician, I'll say that it has some
Is
political
it?
idea to it.
Oh,
Yes, definitely. Uh, I'm not saying that there was the Indian Penal
penal code.
Code which prescribes the sections of what is an offense and what offense amounts to what punishment. So the IPC would give you a crime, like for example, assault, what amounts to assault and how much punishment you get for this. And then there was a CRPC, the Criminal Procedure Code, which would tell you the procedure of how a crime should be tried, right? The appeal, the trial, how it should run, how investigation, FIR, complaint, stages, everything in detail. Right now, and I'm not saying that those didn't require amendments. The IPC and CRPC definitely required some kind of a change. But to entirely change the name is okay. I mean, I could still do with the name. They changed with the entire numbering.
Oh, really?
Yes. So what was 302 in as murder is now probably section 100 or
Oh my
101.
God. So, and what about
So
the
that has created an absolute pandemonium confusion across
lamb?
the legal field.
Right.
And not just law. See,
It
lawyers are,
wasn't, didn't consult y'all. And who's this person who changed it?
it's the central guy, it's the home ministry which changed it.
Okay.
And there was, I mean, apparently there were consultations in Delhi, but there was not enough resistance from the lawyers across India. According to me, the lawyers of India should have resisted more. It is a repackaged CRPC with sections in different order. There are probably a couple of changes, but those changes could be inculcated or amended within the CRPC itself.
So the lawyers who have been practicing for, say, maybe 40 years now have to go back and learn these sections all
Correct,
over again?
correct. It's not just about learning the numbers. Okay, you can open a book and see the number. They've also changed certain wordings of certain sections. So you'll have to go back and change all the precedents. Precedent is a previous judgment of a court which has a binding value on a lower court or on any other court. So all those judgments from 1947, from 1973 is the amending act came in. But from then, all those judgments, which for example would have broken down these exact words of all those sections, all of them are confused now. So it's a very confused way of dealing with things. And another important thing is, okay, lawyers will pick up 3 years, 4 years. We are smart. We'll read it. We'll get it. We'll. This is our job. We get it. But what about the police? For every police station across India, you have completely changed the act. You have changed the numbers. You have changed the section. You have changed the procedure, and you have not given proper training to the police. What are they going to do? Even if they do the investigation in their head according to the best, the lawyers are going to find some loophole according to these acts and get the people out. So this is something that had to be more thought out. They can change the name. What's in a name? They can change any name that
What
they
is
want.
BNS full form?
Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. And BNSS is Bharatiya Nyaya Suraksha Sanhita.
What is the difference?
BNSS is the CRPC
Okay.
of what the CRPC was, that has become the BNSS. The Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita is the IPC. So it's okay, name people will change,
Right.
BNS, IPC, nobody cares. But what's in it is what matters.
Got it.
And that has created a full confusion across
So
India.
are lawyers getting used to it, or how are they coping up?
Yeah,
What's the scene like?
So before, what would happen if I open an FIR, if I see certain sections, okay, 506 is so and so, 420 is so and so, 406 is so and so, you all automatically, and you see the ingredients. Now you have to look back and see what it
into
is,
your-
what the exact section says, all those, and whether this section in the BNS is different from that section in the IPC. So it's not the exact same replica. So how it's different? So it's creating a lot of complication.
All right, Samrudh, this was a great conversation, very fun, intuitive, and knowledgeable too. It's time for a quick rapid fire. So, are you ready? Can we start?
Sure.
Okay. So, who's your favorite politician?
In the Congress, it would be Sachin Pilot. If you ask me in the BJP, I would probably say Shivraj Singh Chauhan.
Right. When are you entering electoral politics?
My bank account doesn't seem like I'm entering anytime soon.
One truth India isn't ready for.
That they don't care about you, that they will poison your water, they will adulterate your food, they will use pesticides on your crop, they will experiment on you for profit, that they don't care about you.
One law you'd remove tomorrow.
Recently, there was an observation of the Supreme Court regarding menstrual leaves. I think I would add an extra day of menstrual leave every day, every month for 12 days, which the Karnataka government has brought in
That's
to make it a national policy. I think that's a very important thing.
important thing. One quick funny moment in court that you'd like to mention.
There was one incident where the first thing you learn as a lawyer is to take time to take an adjournment. So the judge wasn't giving an adjournment to my colleague. So, and in the trial courts, you don't wear the robe. You just go with a blazer and a band. And you wear the robe only in the High Court. So I told my colleague that to act like my junior, and I took a robe, I held the robe in my hand, I placed it on the table, and the judge thought I was some senior counsel who has come from the High Court specially for this matter, and he gave us an opportunity and he gave us an adjournment. So that is quite
Actually.
funny. Yeah.
Cool. That ends our rapid fire, and that also ends our conversation. One last question before I let you go. If you have to give one advice to the younger generation today who are entering law and who also want to enter politics, what's one advice you'd give them? And one book, because law is always about books. One book you'd recommend to them to read.
So my advice as such, I won't say advice, but I would urge everyone to question every single thing, right? Question it and embrace the power of I don't know. Because most oftentimes you might look at someone at a very high level, even the biggest politicians, the most erudite politicians, lawyers, the most senior most, and you might think that they know exactly what they're doing. I don't think they do.
Half knowledge is
So-
dangerous.
Not just half knowledge, I think you just have to embrace the fact that you don't know and accept that you don't know. and that makes you more empathetic. That makes you more curious. So you have to embrace your curiosity and just keep questioning. Is what I would tell the younger generation.
And one book?
Uh, One book that I would recommend. It's a very heavy series of Bertrand Russell.
Okay.
So Bertrand Russell is a English logistician and a philosopher. So his ideas on various topics of education, politics, policy, written in the 1920s, are really interesting. So if you have the bandwidth and the time, then you should read some Bertrand Russell.
Cool. Thank you so much for taking the time out and coming and having this insightful and knowledgeable conversation with me. It means a lot to us. Thank you so much. This ends our conversation and our show. Thank you so much, Samrudh.
It was such a pleasure and honor to be here. I want to thank you. I also want to thank the media team and everyone here,
The back-end team.
the back-end team, and they've done a really great job. And I wish your podcast all the very best and all the success in the future. It was such a pleasure and honor to be here.
Thank you, Samrudh.
Thank you.